Hey Kathy, welcome to the Community Living Golf event. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. We'll let that play through a few times. We'll put you back in your address position, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at a few things for you. So while we got you back here in your setup, let's first of all just take a look at your address position. And first thing we're going to do is just take a look at your posture. See here that your spine is straight and on a slight tilt. Legs come down into a nicely unlocked position. Your arms hang down off your tilted spine, and the golf club works out to the ball. So you're achieving pretty good posture there in association with good balance. It looks pretty solid. Next thing we want to observe is your alignment. We can see your feet aiming a little bit out to the right. Theoretically, your club face is supposed to be running parallel to your feet, and parallel lines on camera would have an appearance of converging. So we're definitely set up towards the right edge of the fairway where it meets the right rough. So we're probably going to see some form of a compensation whereby you're trying to hit the ball back to the center of the fairway. So whether that's swinging the golf club on plane based on this alignment, you would start the ball out towards this target, and then what would happen is we'd hopefully impart some right to left spin with the club face, and we'd hit some kind of a draw or hook back on line. If we don't swing the club on plane based on this alignment, then we're going to come over the top. We're going to attack the ball from outside to inside, and ultimately we're going to try and pull the golf shot back on line. And those are really one of only two compensations that we're probably going to see. If we go ahead and do a little split screen comparison here between you and Chella Choi. Got some color-coded lines on the screen here just as a visual reference, so you can get a sense of how the golf club is supposed to be swinging relative to swing plane and swing path. Now, as Chella initiates her takeaway, we're simply going to draw the golf club back by creating good shoulder rotation, bringing the arms and hands back as well as the golf club. And the golf club needs to travel back directly along this red line, which means it's coming back on proper swing plane. As we continue to move that golf club back, we're going to have to start to incorporate some wrist hinge through here, allowing the club to transition from being below the hands to being above the hands. And then we're going to work the golf club from red up to yellow as we continue with our shoulder rotation. When we finally get to the top of the backswing, the left arm is going to be situated on the yellow line. The club shaft and the club head are going to be within the blue-yellow V zone, but preferably a little closer to yellow than to blue. And we create this rotation about a very stable right side, keeping the weight on the inside part of our right foot. Now, in your setup, your arms do look like your inner triceps. They look like they're sort of held in towards your body a little bit. So if I were to refine your posture, I'd probably just get you to hang your arms down out in front of you just a little bit, because right now your arms just look a little congested to your core. So we just get your hands out here a little bit more. Golf club would work out just a little further away from the ball, so that position you just a hair further away. So that'd be a slight refinement I would create in your posture. And I'm only pointing that out because what's going to happen here, it's going to be difficult for you to swing your hands around on an arc because they're too close to your body. So it's very likely your hands are going to travel a little to the outside and get picked up, and that's exactly what happens here. So your hands are going a little outside with the golf club as opposed to coming back on plane and more inside and around. Okay? So your hands are coming back, we're picking the hands and arms up. Shoulders really aren't turning that much. They are kicking in a little here. We do need to start seeing some wrist hinge through this stage of the golf swing. So we're a little stiff-wristed with the golf club. We get a little bit more hinge there, so that's good. And then right there, so here's a compensation. Due to the fact that you've taken everything a little outside, now you start to drop things back to the inside, because I guess your subconscious brain is understanding that, you know, where you're going right now isn't going to be very powerful coming back to the ball. So we lay it off, we're starting to recover, and we're starting to get into a shallow position. The other thing we do is that when you're creating your backswing with a little bit of lack of rotation, you start standing up out of your shot a little bit too. So you start standing up out of your posture. Okay, so when we finally get to the top of the backswing, I like your arm geometry relative to your course. So your left arm's on the yellow line. We still maintain nice triangular position in the arms, and the golf club looks great relative to the arms as well. So all that looks beautiful. You do have some rotation. I'd like to see better rotation during the entirety of that backswing. And I would also like to see better wrist hinge, getting you to understand what wrist hinge is, because you didn't really fully cock your wrists. And wrist hinge is a major source of power. So think about throwing a ball with no wrist hinge. You'd be shot putting it, you'd have no speed. So we need to create wrist hinge in the backswing so we have that energy to come back into the golf ball with. And obviously just more efficiently bring that golf club back so it travels back on a natural arc as opposed to moving outside. So we need to refine where the arms were at address. Now, from here as we start our downswing, simply want to take the weight from the right foot, drive it to the left, fire the knees and the hips to the target, unwind the core and fire the hands. And in doing so, we got to make sure we're bringing the golf club from yellow back down to red, which is exactly what we see here with Chela Choi. The golf club has returned right back to being on plane. The other thing we want to point out is the relationship between the lead forearm and the golf club. I refer to this as the backwards check mark. Simply means we're retaining angle coming into the hitting zone, and whereby the club head is still above and behind our hands. This is what's going to allow us to create a lot of power in the golf swing. With your transition back into the golf ball, your hands get pushed down out in front of you. This is referred to as an over-the-top move. So if we track your club head coming into the golf ball, we're basically going to see that this golf club never returns back to the red line like it did with Chela Choi. It actually gets out in front of the blue line, and this over-the-top move obviously is causing the club to come in too steep, and therefore it's going to be attacking the ball from a swing path perspective too far from out to in. With Chela Choi, basically what we see is the club tracks into the ball from the red line or just slightly underneath, and from a geometric standpoint, that golf club, the head of it, should be tracking in camouflaged by that red line. So she's just slightly underneath, which could influence her ability to block the ball a little out to the right if she doesn't fully square the club face up. Okay? So now at this point in time, understand that she's coming into the ball from on plane, you're coming from over the top. This has a major influence on the path of the club. So her club is inside the ball, it expands out to strike it and moves through on a nice natural subtle arc. Yours is on the outside of the ball, drops down and across to make contact and is moving in that direction. So very simply put, if you happen to square the club face up to that swing path, you're going to pull the ball over in this direction. Now let's go back to what we had talked about with your setup. We had already mentioned that your alignment was too far out to the right. I had mentioned that there was going to be one of two compensations to get the ball back to the left. That was either going to be swing the club on plane, close the club face and hit a big draw, or come over the top and swing it from out to in. And that's what you're doing. You're swinging that golf club from an outside to an inside swing path, and you're trying to pull the ball back to the orange flag. The only issues here is if you over-release the golf club, the ball will get pulled towards the orange flag, but then you've imparted some right to left spin, and you're going to hit a pull hook or pull draw. If you under-release the club, the ball probably still gets pulled, maybe not as far left, but then it has too much left to right spin, and you hit some form of a slice that heads towards red. If the timing's all there, then you hit what I refer to as a pull straight shot or just a subtle pull fade, heading down that yellow arrow, and then it would just sort of stay somewhere in that direction, straight or with a subtle fade. So the end result of your golf shot is solely dictated based on the timing of the club face. If we over-release the club along that yellow path, it follows the yellow arrows. Under-release the club along that yellow path, it follows the red arrows. And if we time it perfectly, then we hit a pull straight shot or just a subtle pull fade, and that's not going to hurt you at all, and it will find the center of the fairway. Now as we move through, we can see Chela Choi's right heel slightly off the ground. As we carry this golf shot all the way through, we need to make sure that right heel comes fully up off the ground, up on the toe of the right foot. That allows all our weight to get displaced on our left side. Hips can rotate through, get square, shoulders can fully rotate, and we can finish the golf swing. So we're up on the toe, we can count all the spikes in the shoe, weight's on the left side, left leg's fully posted, hips are square, shoulders are fully rotated, hands are high, clubs back in behind us. As we watch you come through, great footwork through to your finish, and you get yourself into a really nice finishing position here for sure. Overall, you've got some excellent athletic qualities with respect to your golf swing. I love how your hands work. They come back, they fire through, lots of speed there. You coil, you uncoil. You've got decent footwork carrying you through to the finish. We just really need to implement some of those little minor changes to allow you to become more of a consistent golfer. In order to hit a ball straight and be consistent, there's three things that we need. We need to aim well, which means we have to aim our body parallel to our target line. And then we have to swing the club down on plane and square the face up. Unfortunately, you don't have either three of those things happening at this point in time. We're aiming too far out to the right, our downswing plane is over the top, and then at that point in time, you've got to compensate with the club face. So if you're to be able to improve your alignment, learn how to bring the club down on plane, obviously at that point in time have a good grip so the club face is squaring up, you can learn how to hit the ball straight in accordance to where you're aimed, and that would now all line up with the great athletic move that you have, and you could become a really consistent golfer and a really great ball striker because you got a lot of athletic ability and a lot of potential here. Okay? Anyways, if at any point in time you ever want to work on your golf game, I'm over at Glen Abbey in Oakville. Be happy to set you up with some lessons. Also, if you're involved in any golf tournaments and you're looking for a unique gift to give, certainly feel free to contact me. All my contact information is at the end of the video, and I'd be happy to discuss that as well. Anyways, hope you had a great day. Hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video. And hope you have a great summer, and maybe we might hear from you.